Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of FPV Inside Look. Today we're taking a look at Dowprop's new propellers, the Fold series. And these are really cool because as you can see here, they fold up, which makes it really easy to put them on a backpack or travel with them. And they can take an impact because they'll fold up. So, let's get into these propellers and see how they did. When I first saw the Dowprop Fold series come out, I was really excited because I've been flying DJI for quite a while. And they've had these on their Mavic that fold up, and I think it's really convenient because, as you can see, things can fold up nice and small. And when you're hiking around with a big backpack and you have 3 or 4 drones on one pack, it gets pretty bulky with all those propellers sticking out. So having them be able to fold up like that really keeps them out of the way, and I feel like it prevents some damage that you could do to your quad by just walking around and things banging around on the back. When I got them in the mail, I actually wasn't as excited. I don't know if it's because it's all plastic, which I knew it was, but there's just something about all these extra moving parts compared to, well, just a solid propeller. This is the Spitfire series, also from Dowprop, and they work great for racing, and it seems like they pretty much taken the pitch and angle of this propeller and shrunk it down slightly to fit on the Fold series. The major difference is having the hub in the middle limits your surface area on the propeller itself, and I'm worried that it's not going to perform as well and it's going to lack a little thrust, and that's kind of what I've been seeing online. So what I like to do is get out, rip some packs, and do it for myself. Before you do that, you actually have to assemble these propellers, and each propeller comes with 5 pieces. Basically you have 3 propellers and they all go on the hub. You have 2 hubs, a top and a bottom. One of them has bigger nubs on it, and you basically just slide on the propellers on those nubs, and then it gets sandwiched with the third one. That's it. And then put them on your motors with the prop nut, and it holds it on tight. I'm actually pretty excited to see how these do for impacts and running into trees and bushes and stuff, because they will fold back. I feel like maybe they won't get as much damage and I'll be able to fly them longer, even with damage and chips and little nicks in them, without getting too much vibration and oscillation from them. So let's take this quad out. We've got the props on it, and let's put it through the ringer. I'll start off real mellow, just do some little turns and some little laps, and then we will pick up speed, try to burst up, do some loops, really get low and tight into the trees. So let's get out to the field. Now that we're out here to get some testing going on, I've got my Fold props on, and I'm not going to run a GoPro because I know these are going to perform slightly different, and I don't want to beat up my GoPro any more than I already have. It's barely running as it is. But let's send a couple packs and then see how we feel about these propellers. Really good first test. I actually like the way they're handling. I'm not flying too aggressive for that first pack because I just wanted to test it out and feel how it's going. Next up, I'm gonna up my camera angle a little bit because it was kind of mellow. I want to get a little faster, stay low, and see how it handles there. Pop up over some of these trees, see how the thrust is, because that's where I think these props are not gonna perform, is when I need that punch. So let's rip a couple more and we'll check it out. Alright, now that I've done a little bashing with these props, you know, I'm actually not too happy with what happens after they get hit. Once these hubs get smashed or beat up a little bit, they actually become very stiff for the actual blades, and I'm afraid the blade won't come back out with centripetal force, and it's just going to cause a lot of oscillation and problems as I'm flying. But let's get back in the studio where it's not so windy, and I'll break down the pros and cons of the Dal-Prop Fold series. Well, I really have mixed feelings about these props. A lot of people are saying that, well, they're gutless and they have no punch to them. And, well, they're right. They don't feel like another 4.7 out there. They're just missing, I think, the surface area to grab the air like something else that's similar on the market. For freestyle, when I went to punch up over a tree or a light, I almost came up short a couple times because I'm used to punching out for a certain amount of time because I know my rig pretty well. And I would just cut it and expecting to float over the top, but I wasn't getting the same thrust with these, so I'd come up just a little short and almost run into object. I also power looped and it was struggling to come back out of that big fall from the loop. So it almost felt like my batteries were always on the last little bit because it just never had that punch that I wanted and needed. That makes these things so fun, where you can go from 0 to 60 in almost nothing. Another problem was actually when I was crashing and hitting things. So one thing that is great about these props is the durability, because when you hit something they can simply fold back around. However, I am noticing that as I was bashing into these trees, one of these doesn't want to come back. It's really stiff. So if I bend a prop, is it always guaranteed to come out with the centripetal force, or is there a chance of it still getting stuck with debris, rocks, gravel, whatever, and then not having that third blade, it's actually really stiff right now, come back out into the flying formation? This one in particular actually is not sealing all the way down. I don't think it's gonna fall off, but when the motor spins up, the props aren't coming out all the way with centripetal force, and they're not lining up in their nice little 3-point pattern because they're so stiff. And so I'll just have to put a new prop on there anyways. If these props, you know, can't take the impact and they don't perform how you want it to, what's the point, right? Well, I do think there is a lot of potential in foldable props. I think Dal-Props is on the right track, and these do perform well. They control great, they just don't have the punch and the thrust. I think for people that are looking for just accessibility and being able to fit all your quads on a pack, I think it's a great idea. For long range, if you have 6-7 inch drones, you know, it's good. You might be a little worried with your long range rig having all these extra moving parts, but I feel like if they can make these props perform just as good as something else, I'd throw them on my 7-inch just so I could fit all my drones on my backpack. So I really think there are some good pros and cons to these propellers, and it's a great starting point. They're small, they're compact, they can take an impact. I like how they're customizable. I could take a red blade and put it with these blue ones, or take the green hub with the black one. That's always fun with our hobby. They can take an impact pretty well. However, they will chip and dent just like anything else. If it's hitting it hard enough, it's just plastic. But the cons outweigh it for me right now with this version. They just didn't perform how I like. They didn't have that punch and that thrust. You know, you have to assemble them. They are slightly heavier. They're about 0.5 gram heavier than the other props, so you're looking at 2 more grams on your drone. Not a big deal, but my motors did get slightly warmer spinning these because they had to work a little harder to get the same amount of thrust. I do believe, like I said, Dal-Prop is on the right path. I think this is a great start, and if they just put a little more into it and keep going, we'll have a great series. They are coming out with a 6-inch prop, and I hope a 7-inch prop also, and as they, you know, just come out with more and more, they will fine-tune the series. That's going to wrap up this review of the Dow Prop Fold series. If you want to try them for yourself, all you have to do is subscribe to me, Your Average Hobbyist, and leave a comment down below in this video. What do you think of fold props? Do you think there's a place for them in the FPV world, or they should stick to the DJI drones? You can also follow me on my social media platforms on Facebook or Instagram at NorCal Drones. Until next time, keep ripping packs.